taking apart and reassembling our Addies. We got this, friends. Hello friends, it's Shelley from Koala Knits and Knacks. In this tutorial, I'm going to show you how you take apart your machine and how you reassemble it. I know I have a tutorial that I made 3 years ago when I first started my channel on how to do it. And in that tutorial, the first time I ever took it apart was the time that I made the video. Now it's much easier for me, so I'm doing another tutorial. And all this one's going to be is disassembling and assembling. But this is my old machine, and it has some broken tines on the gold ring. And I'm going to show you what I did to make it work without my handle. You know, sometimes when you're rotating your handle, when you've got yarn in your machine and you're working, you'll get this loud sound. And that's because, for two reasons. It's either because your tension is too tight and your handle is fighting, so it's grinding on the inside, or it's because you're in the past you have used yarn like I did that wasn't great, and you broke some of the tines on your gold ring. And so I'm going to show you what I've done to make this rotate. Listen, I'm going to just show you. There's no grinding. This is my old machine. I have a new machine that I've been using for the last year in my tutorials. It's not new anymore, but I decided, I had a brainwave and I thought, how can I fix those tines without having to change the gold ring for now? See if I can get a little bit more time out of it. So I thought, well, now's a perfect opportunity. So I did it and it worked, and now I'm going to take it apart and show you what I did and show you an easy way to put it back together in a more clear way, so that when you take your machine apart to clean it, and I'll show you the cleaning in that first video that you can find on my channel. I'm not going to clean it now. I'm just going to disassemble it, show you what I did to those tines, and then I'm going to assemble it again with you so that you can see how easy it is actually to put together. All right, so stick with me, friends. We're going to take our machine apart. First thing you're going to do is you're going to take your little screwdriver. You're going to unscrew the handle. So right in the center there, and if you have a sticker that's over the center here, just go through the sticker and it's underneath there. All right, my other machine has the sticker still on. Then you're going to go ahead and you're going to remove these top screws. I'm going to show you something here. Some of the holes for the screws, and you can clearly see it, this is plastic on metal. It's metal that this screw is going into. When you got a hole that you're screwing into that's plastic and metal, you're going to use the screws that are flat on the bottom. All right, so you don't have to put a bunch of bowls out like sometimes you see in videos, and even in my first tutorial that I did, I had them all out in different bowls. But then I got wise and realized that it was my husband actually said, no, when it's going from plastic to metal, it's got a flat end, so you just need 2 piles for your screws, except for you're going to do a separate one for your counter screws. And you're going to take those out, those 4 out. Again, they're flat on the bottom because it's going into metal. Take all 4 out. Disassembling is easy. Assembling is a little bit more confusing. There we go. I'm going to pop this ring off. Just set it aside here. I'm going to take this one off. Set it aside there. Then you're going to flip it. Well, you can take on the inside here, you see these 4 here. You can take those ones off first. Just like this. And I'll show you the base of these ones. These are also flat because it's going into metal. So I'm going to add that to the screw pile that has the flat. All these are the same. The ones that I took out before this are the same as these ones. So it doesn't matter if they're in the same pile. And this one. And when I screw them back in, I don't put lots of pressure on them. I just screw them till it stops, and then they're easy to get out. I don't put pressure and make sure they're really tight. You don't need to do that. So just a little tip for when you're getting to that stage of assembling it again. Okay, so essentially this piece comes out, but then my needles are gonna spill all over the place. So I'm gonna turn this upside down. We could have done that part later, but I just wanted to show you that you can do it now or later. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna take off the base here. So I'm gonna go into there, And you'll see this screw is different. It has a point because it's plastic on plastic. So I'm just going to put that in a different pile. You can put them all together. It doesn't matter because when you go to screw them in, you'll be able to see. If you look down into that hole, you'll see it's plastic on plastic. You can clearly see when it's metal on the inside. All right, so I am unscrewing all 4 of these. Oops, yikes. And this one. And then you can lift this piece off. Set that down. You're gonna go inside here. These 4 screws here. 1, 2, 3, and 4. And you'll see they have a point. I'm gonna put those because it's plastic on plastic. I'm gonna put that in the screws with the point pile. Take this one off. And one more. All right, now what you need to do is you need to take the screws out of your counter. These ones you don't touch. Right, here's your counter. I'm gonna take this one out here. I'm gonna set this aside in a different pile. This is a tiny wee little one. It's got a point on it, but it's smaller than the other ones. And then this one is stripped, so it's a little hard to take out. But there we go. And I'm gonna put those aside. So I keep these ones separate because they are a little different than the other ones. They're a little smaller. So you got 3 piles. You have your screws from your counter. You have your screws that go from plastic to metal that have a flat end, and you have your screws that go into plastic to plastic and they have a pointy end. Oh, my nails got grease under them from these machines. But we're going to then lift this off, turn it over, take this piece, put it aside. Now here's where you could have done this next. You could have waited and done this now because this is gonna pop off, but I find it's in there pretty firm, so it's not gonna fall out if you wanna do it while your machine is facing that direction. All right, so now we got our needles here. I'm gonna go ahead, you're gonna pull them all out. And you're gonna clean them if they need to be cleaned. And put a little tiny bit of white lithium grease if you need to. I'm not going to. But I show you that in the video that I made about 3 years ago. You can find it under the techniques playlist. So you can either lift them out like this, or I could have just picked up this gold ring and turned it upside down and they would have all fallen out. But here we go. You can see grease on here. But I'm going to take this out and you'll see that there is, oops, there's a black ring here. It's got a little opening there and that goes around our counter when we put it back on. But I'll show you that in time. And then there's this gold ring. Now here is what I did. Because I have a broken tine there, when you're cranking your handle and you get that really loud grinding noise, it's because one of the little things on here, or 2 or 3 or however many, are broken. And that is from using yarn that is difficult in your machine and forcing it with your handle or going too fast. And then all of a sudden one of these little things break off. Or using like too tight of tension. And back in my beginning days when I was young and foolish, I've only done this for 3 years, but I used some yarn that my machine didn't like, and it broke a couple of the times. However, I used this machine for like almost 2 years before that actually happened, so it could have just been wear because I have a lot of videos on my channel, as you know. But I took masking tape, and there's a broken tine in there, so I took a little bit of masking tape, and then I pushed my thumb into there to put it into the indent. I laid it across and I started on this end and I pushed in, pushed in, pushed in, pushed in, pushed in, pushed in, and it gives it some grip all along. And then I just smooth it out really good. I don't know how long that's going to hold, and some of you might be shaking your head, but I'm telling you it works. And if it, you know, this is my old machine. I have a new machine. If I get some time out of this one, or if I'm going to use this one for my zest wrench, then it's okay. If I can get some extra time before I have to buy a gold ring, that's what I'm going to do. And so I've done it there. I've done it there. I've done it in 2 places. All right. So that is what I've done to fix those little tines, and it gives it a little bit of a grip, and it actually works. Now, if you're taking your machine apart, you're going to wash it all up or clean it all up, and then you're going to put some lithium grease, white lithium grease, where you want to. You're going to wash your needles. I probably could do it again, but I'm not going to. I haven't used this machine in a while, actually, and I don't find it's dirty enough for me to have to re-grease or anything. I'll wipe it here and there. But now we're going to assemble it again, making sure if this falls out, this one I'll clean a little bit. If it falls out, when you put it back in, put it in so that this gear is on the inside like that, not on the outside. I put my whole machine together and realized I couldn't put my handle on because I had this in the wrong way. So that goes like that. Now we're going to assemble. Now I'm going to show you what I did so that every time I take my machine apart, I don't have to try to figure it out again. You're going to go to my video and you're going to use that. But this is what I did, and you might want to do this too. This first picture is blurry, but I took step-by-step pictures, and I put a number 1 on there using the buttons here that we can use. And then this is picture number 2, that's the second, and then I put the number 2 on the next piece that I put in, and I did that all the way down to the end, so that next time I take this apart, all I gotta do is go to my photos. I saved this in notes, is go to my notes and follow it down, and I'll be able to assemble it. Taking it apart is different. Assembling it takes more work. Taking it apart, you can do it however your little heart desires. So we're gonna take this piece. This is the first piece. Okay, so that's left on the table. From there, I'm going to take my gold ring. I'm going to pop that on top. This way. Okay, this way. So the thickest part of the ring goes down. I'm going to pop that in there. Just like that. Now you want to have your red toggle on panel knitting, so it's up. Here you can see how that works. When this is up, it stops the needles. This bar stops the needles. When it's down, it's out of the way, and then it's circular knits. But we want to have it up so that we can figure out where to put our black and our white needles. All right, so have that up. Put that back down. You're going to then grab this ring, and it goes. You see this rim here, this ridge, that goes down. You see this cutout piece here, that goes right where your counter is. So just slip that down. You can see on your gold ring, let me just go back a little bit. There's a little opening there. When you're in panel mode, it doesn't go any further. I go this way, it doesn't go any further. That's where it stops, okay? So then I'm gonna bring it so that opening space there is all the way here, and you see it's going to trip the counter if I force it to go. All right, so that's where you want that to be. Then you take this and you put that in there just like that. Okay, so that's piece 3. Piece 4, you're going to take your cover, and yes, you're leaving the needles out. You don't do that yet. You're going to put your cover on just like this. Kind of snaps into place. That's 4. You're going to take this whole thing and you're going to turn it upside down. We're working on 5 now. 5A, I call it, is by turning it upside down and looking at the base. And we're going to put our counter screws back in. Oops. It's nice having a little metal magnet tip here, but sometimes it's hard to get this little one in. I'm gonna put that little one in there. If you can get the little guy in there. There we go. And I'm going to screw it down till it catches, but I'm not going to over screw it. And then I'm going to put these counter ones in. Over screwing will strip your screws, and it's not necessary. These ones are harder to get in because you got to go way down there. Just put you over here. Start on this side, not that that should matter, but maybe it will. I just got to get it lined up properly. Screw that one in. Take the next one. This one doesn't want to work with me. Take your time, you'll win. You'll win the battle. Screw that one in. Just like that, okay? So that I considered 5B. And then you're going to take your screws that go in these little holes here. Okay, so it's plastic on plastic. You're gonna take your ones with your points and you're gonna put those in. So all 4. So all my screws with the pointy tips are in the same pile. I haven't separated them based on the piece because they're all the same. Screw that in there. Come over here. Screw that down. Take the next one. And you'll see I'm not forcing them. I'm just letting it catch. Where's that next one? Right here. And you're screwing down. All right. After that, we're going to go to number 6, which is the legs. Now here is where there's a tricky thing. If yours is like mine, you're gonna see that there is a sticker on your base. When you look at your counter, your sticker goes completely opposite. Now, the reason why that's important is because where your screws go, this screw is lining up with, let me show you in this one. This screw is lining up with this section here, and I can move this over. This screw is lining up with that section. When you turn it, if you have it off-centered, they don't line up. They're way off. So it's not going to screw down and you're going to get frustrated and say, how come this isn't matching up? That's why, okay? Because these 2 screws, this one goes there, and that one goes there. That's the side of the machine. These are on the inside of the leg. If you have it this way, they're on the outside of the leg, which makes the distance different. So there we go. Pop that down like that. That is plastic on plastic. So you're going to use your screws with the point. See how easy this is? Can you have a picture gallery to follow? Pick that up. You can see this first one here might be a little bit, oops, might be a little bit tricky, so you can line that one up and then the rest will flow. There we go. And I'm going to put all 4 screws in the base. And that takes care of all of the screws with the pointy end. There we go. All right, friends, how's it going so far? For step 7, we're going to turn this over. Step 7 has more than one part. We're going to add our handle. That's the first part. So my screw is in there. I'm just going to line up those grooves. Then I hold the gold ring on the inside and I hold the handle on the outside and I press with my thumb and my fingers so the two of them come together. That's just so I can get my handle on as tight as I can. This is the only one where I really tighten my screw really well. So once you think it's tight, give it another little turn, but be careful you don't strip it because that's a pain all on its own. There we go, that's tight enough. Now that we have the handle on, it's important to where we put our needle placement. So I'm going to rotate my handle. This is how we normally knit, going in a clockwise position. You're going to come back in a counterclockwise position till it stops. Your machine is on panel mode. So flip this up to panel mode. So I went backwards so that it's set up for as though I was knitting the right way. Okay, so you're going to bring it counterclockwise all the way back until it stops. And then what's important is to place your black needles first. So let me just find them. You have 3 black needles. When you go counterclockwise so that it's ready to start going the right way of knitting, you want your first black needle to sit on top of it. It's a little off-centered there. Like, it doesn't sit right on top. You can notice my, oops. There we go. Now it is. I just had to, if it's not right on top, then just fiddle with this just a little bit to line it back up the way it needs to go. So here I'm counterclockwise or clockwise. Now I'm going to go counterclockwise until I can't go anymore because it's in panel mode. And then this space right here that goes on top of that black triangle is our first needle when we're going as a right-hander would knit, going the right direction. All right, then we're going to pop that next one in and this next one. Now let me just show you something before you continue on with your white needles. When we are knitting in this direction, this black needle is lined up with our counter. So we're going to knit. Again, we're in panel mode. This is how you determine where your black needles go. We go all the way around the other way. This needle stops in front of the counter. Then you know you have them in the right position. All right, so again, you go back. This needle is in line. You go the other way. And this needle is the first needle, ready to go back the other way. Okay, so I'm going to take it all the way back to the other side. Not that you need to, because at this point, you know they're lined up, but just to show you one more time, that's my first black needle. This will be my last white needle, and I'm ready to go this direction. So you know they're in the right place. You go ahead and you fill in all the other spaces with your white needles. Now I do show you in the other tutorial that I did like 3 years ago when I took this apart, and it's a harder video to follow, so you're going to want to follow this one whenever you're assembling and taking it apart at this point. But I do show you that I wash everything, and I show you how dirty everything was, and so you want to take a look at that tutorial as well. You'll find it in the techniques playlist. All right, I'm going to go ahead and fill in all these spaces with my white needles, and I'll see you back. So step 7 was the handle and the needles. Step 8, you're going to grab this big piece, and you'll notice that it has that triangle that fits over the triangle that's at the front there. You're going to pop that in. These 4 screws will line up. And you'll also notice that it's plastic on metal. So you got it. You use the screws that are left that have the square bottom. And you screw this in. I hope this video helps you to not be afraid to take apart your Addi when you need to, and to give it a good clean. And that you just, you know, that you enjoy the process, but that you don't fear with it. It's not as hard as what you might think if you can follow instructions. Again, I tried to put them as simple as I could because I know how hard it is to do this. It took me a long time actually to make the video because I wanted to make sure that I took it apart, put it together with pictures so that there was no guesswork for you at all. I did all the guesswork for you. So now this is panel mode. I'm going to just give it another try. All right, so this is my first black needle, and I know I'm going the other way. And you can hear my handle is not grinding because of that little trick that I did. That's the first black needle. I am going the other direction. So now what we're gonna do is step 9. I take a black felt marker, permanent marker. I need to do it again. And I mark this red divider that goes between the last black and the last white. So I want to make sure that I put that between the last black and the last white. So you're going to hook that in there, just like that. Wiggle it to get it in there right. And now this is between the last white and the first black. You're going to go ahead and take number 10, which is this one. And that fits right in between, just like that. And you can see that's metal, that's plastic. You're going to put your last 4 screws back in. Just like so. I'm going to put this back down to circular knitting, just because that's generally what I most often use. And we're going to finish this. Then I'm going to go do my nails. And friends, we have just taken apart and put back our machine with very little struggle. I hope the video is easy for you to follow and you have no problems. There we go. Now, before I added that masking tape, whenever I turned my handle and did a full round, it would slip on the places where it was broken, and the handle would grind because it was trying to catch the next time. And so it works. I have to say that I take after my mother in many senses, but in this particular sense, my mother, she passed away 2.5 years ago, but she would fix anything. If you had a broken stove, you had a broken furnace, you had a broken anything. And if any of my relatives are watching this, comment, because you know this is true. She could fix anything. She would research it till she had it fixed, or she'd come up with something and fix it. And without fail, she was a genius at stuff like that. So I'm not in any way a genius, but I do take after her in trying to find solutions before I have to go and buy a whole new thing. So there we go. Although I did buy a new one just because for my channel, I just needed it. So, but now I've got 2 perfectly working Addies, 46 needle Addies. I have 2 22 needle Addies, and I have all the centros. Oh, it's just a crazy addiction. But anyways, there you go, friends. Thank you so much for joining me, friends. I hope that this tutorial was helpful for you when you want to take apart and reassemble your Addi, and that you are no longer scared to do so. All right, thanks again for watching. Take care. Have a blessed day. I'll see you in the next tutorial.